welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and I'm the blogger behind BrighterDarling.com.
This is now the third time I'm trying to record this video. Then people wonder why, Stephanie, why aren't you consistent with your videos? Because my life is constantly hijacked by life terrorists. Anyway.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and I'm the blogger behind BrighterDarling.com. Welcome to today's video. We are doing a rival comparisons, face-off, I don't know what you want to call it, between this new Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer and its biggest rival, I would say, is the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. So both of these are advertised as multifunctional concealers that are full coverage and, you know, built to be long wearing. So being that everybody and their mother has been talking about how these two are so similar, I personally hadn't seen anybody actually wear it like split face the way I'm gonna do it today. So I figured let's just do it and see how it goes, right? So I will link the timestamp below where you can actually see me apply these two different concealers to both sides of my face, and then maybe you can decide before you even get there which side is Too Faced and which side is Tarte. But before we get into that, I do want to kind of do a little review and introduction for this concealer if you haven't really heard much about it yet and kind of want to hear my thoughts. So let's get into that part, and then you can always fast forward to the demo and application, and obviously we're going to do a wear test too. So let's get to it. Okay, so to start, this concealer is said to be full coverage, hydrating, and buildable. So it's also meant to conceal and contour and highlight, and that's pretty much the very similar claims that the Tarte Shape Tape has. The difference with Tarte Shape Tape is I never heard Tarte Shape Tape be advertised or discussed as hydrating, and that's basically the biggest con that people who have tried it and don't like it say, is that it seems to be a little drying on their skin. So I'll get into that in a moment, but I do want to compare the size. So obviously I'd be remiss to not mention that the size of this tube is very large. I would say this is the biggest concealer packaging I've ever seen from drugstore to high-end. You are getting a half a fluid ounce, which is a significant amount of concealer, and although the price I think is $28 or $29, I'll have it below, and that does seem steep. If you do a price comparison when you equate it to ounceage, this is actually a very good deal and does rival even the cost of some drugstore concealers when you're looking at price per ounce. For comparison, here is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, which is 1 fluid ounce, and this is the Born This Way concealer, which is half an ounce. So, I mean, just for reference, this is a very large bottle. I won't lie, the bottle itself is kind of thick, so it is making it seem even bigger, but don't be fooled, there is a lot of product in this bottle. Okay, so I will insert some swatches here of the shade range. There are 20 shades in this lineup, which I think is excellent. However, it's something that if you're going to advertise a concealer as being able to contour and highlight and conceal, you do need to have those shades, because you're essentially almost offering a new foundation if you're going to be having the customer use it in those different ways. You're putting it all over your face, so you need to have a lot of options. So I'm glad Too Faced did come out with 20 shades. The one thing I did notice when I did all the swatches of the shades, and I have seen this even on my other beauty blogger friends' reviews, namely Little Blushing Birdie. I'll link her review below. I think she did a great job. Actually, I don't know if it was her YouTube channel. It might have been her blog post, so I'll link that below regardless. But you will notice that the way that they lined up the shades of like how deep they go, like from lightest to darkest, they don't exactly gradiate the way you would expect lightest to darkest to go. So sometimes you're gonna see that the shade that says it's darker does actually look a little lighter. That might be because of the undertones, but I mean, to be honest, I think that that can be very confusing to the consumer if you're trying to buy a highlighting shade or a contouring shade, one, you know, only a couple shades lighter or darker than your concealing shade. So really do your research when you're looking at the swatches to decide what color you're gonna get, because the nuances in the undertone can really affect the depth of the color, and that could be a little confusing. So just know that. However, I will say, I do remember when Tarte released Shape Tape that I had a similar struggle basically finding the concealer shade for me, and because of that I actually have a few different colors of Tarte Shape Tape that are all the nuances are so subtle, but it was a similar problem. I think it's just the way it happens when you have so many concealer shades. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping for it. So the biggest difference that I noticed when I use these two concealers is that not gonna lie, Tarte Shape Tape certainly feels much more drying now when I have something to compare it to. That's so similar in claims. The Too Faced Born This Way blends out way easier. It requires little effort to blend out. It does have a more of a radiant natural finish compared to compared to Tarte. What I will say about this one is, although it says it's full coverage and buildable, which is kind of confusing, I guess, because if it's full coverage, what would you need to build? I don't think, and I will see by the end of this video when I take pictures of myself wearing it, I don't think the Too Faced is as full coverage as Tarte. I don't think. It is very close, but simply because of the level of emollient and like that hydrating factor that this one has, it doesn't give me as much pigment as the Tarte does. That is a total like personal preference if you prefer to build this up a little more to get the same level of coverage with Tarte, while also not sacrificing the hydration level. Totally up to you, but again, I will eat my words if when I review this footage I see that they look exactly the same, or maybe even the Too Faced one looks better. But I do want to let you know that. What else do I want to say? Oh, let's just get into the little applicator itself. So I know a lot of you guys have probably seen this already, so I'm sorry if you've watched other reviews, but it is the big chunky doe foot applicator. I know my poor little camera is trying to focus. Hope you could see that. It has this triangle tip, which is unique, and it makes it very easy to contour, like if you want to put a very thin line here, and then down your nose. Whereas the Tarte does have a big fat doe foot applicator, and it is tapered. It's not as, come on camera. It's not as sharp as the Too Faced, I guess. Let's put them next to each other. So hopefully you can see the difference in the applicator. Okay, let's get into the demo wear test and see what you guys think. Before you continue to go to that part of the video, why don't you just leave me a comment below and let me know which side you think is Too Faced versus which side is Tarte. I'm gonna use shade Natural Beige under my eye on this side, and I have shade Medium in Tarte Shape Tape for this side. So let's go in with this one first. I did my eye makeup, obviously. Playing with the new Born to Run palette from Urban Decay. That's going to be a review coming soon on my blog. But so far I'm pretty impressed. Okay, so let's just blend this out with my damp beauty blender. I have to just be careful because I never really do my lower lash line concealer, eye makeup before concealer, but I just really wanted to finish the look before I filmed today. So I'm just gonna be very careful, kind of conceal that little blemish I have there. But do you see how easily that blends out? That is definitely one thing about the Too Faced concealer that the Tarte definitely doesn't have. You have to work a little bit more with it, but it's so pretty. Like, it's pretty nice. Okay, so let's go in with the Tarte Shape Tape and apply the same on this side. And I'm going to try to apply it very similarly. My gut instinct, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have mentioned this already in the intro, is that Shape Tape has better coverage, but it is a little more drying. But that's my gut instinct. So I'm just gonna use the opposite side of the Beauty Blender that I just used from the Too Faced. Yeah, I think this you have to be so careful when blending out if you've already done your makeup like I did, because the pigmentation and the texture, it's a little drier, so it can be a little more difficult to blend. Like I have to definitely do a little more work than I had to do on the other side. Again, if I've mentioned this in the intro, I'm sorry, but my love for the Shape Tape didn't really happen until I saw pictures of myself wearing it, and that's when I like kind of understood. But like I feel like I just took double the time to do that. And from what I could see in the viewfinder, this side looks more matte and this side looks a little more radiant. I do think this side has slightly more coverage, but it is a little more dry. So, all right, I'm just gonna go and set it. So I'm just using my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder to set this down. It's also gonna give a little brightness. Not like I really go for that look too much, but you know, when you're doing the YouTube, you always gotta brighten. And then do this side. Yeah, even this side, like it's so matte that the powder looks so much more dry compared to the Too Faced side. So, what do you guys think of the eyes? Not the makeup, but the under eye concealer. We got the Too Faced on this side and Shape Tape on this side. Let's do a little one of these. Tell me what you think. It is currently, this was a late start to the day, 3:18 in the afternoon. Don't even ask, the day was ridiculous. But anyway, I want to do like at least 8 hours. Well, I'm going to try to push to 8 hours to see what the eyes concealer looks like for the end of the day. But that's where we're at right now. So we'll check in a little. Okay, here we are. It is 11:02 p.m. This is as close as my camera will go because I don't have a zoom feature. So I hope you guys can, you know, see as good as you really can. This is as good as it's gonna be unless I used my iPhone. But maybe we can do that next time. Anyway, so I was reviewing the, like I took the thumbnails for this video after the, I filmed the intro, and I like zoomed super close in on them to see like what my under eyes looked like and if one side looked better than the other. And my thoughts are that neither side looked better than the other. I could just see in one of the pictures specifically that the Shape Tape side did look a little drier, which is what we've been saying this entire time for this review. But looking at it now, I mean, let me get a little closer to my mirror here. Okay, I'm gonna try to get closer. This might not work. So this is the Tarte Shape Tape and this is the Too Faced. I think they look very, very similar. I still agree that the Shape Tape looks a little drier, but I am noticing the smallest bit of fading and a slight little bit of settling with the Too Faced side, and like so minor, guys. So it's really like, I'm thinking it's doing that little like creasing because it is a little more emollient, and therefore is gonna like lay on the skin a little more naturally, whereas the Shape Tape stuff, that goes on like paint and dries like paint. So you're kind of like, I'm in a place in my life where I don't have a lot of wrinkles yet, but I'm certainly not in my teens or 20s where like my under eye skin is like completely flawless. So I can't really show how dry and bad, I guess, Shape Tape could look if I had much drier under eyes or like wrinkly under eyes, but I can definitely see where people who have more fine lines and dry skin would not like Shape Tape and much prefer Sorry, something's popping up on my computer. And much prefer the Too Faced Born This Way, because when it comes to coverage and photographing, sorry, let me sit back. The pictures prove that they do photograph very well. Both of them looked nearly identical. Like I said, there was only one picture out of the like 10 that I took for the thumbnail that I could see a slight minuscule difference with the Tarte Shape Tape, and only because I was overanalyzing like a maniac. But that's good to know that even though I did think that this didn't have as much coverage as Shape Tape, the photograph proves that that's not really the case. So overall, I think that this is a more universally suitable formula, and you want buildable to full coverage concealer that you can use to highlight and contour with. You're getting a great value for the price and the size of this bottle, so I certainly can't complain. At the end of the day, more universally suitable, but if you're crazy oily, just stick with this one. And I mean really oily. The funny thing is, I was doing a little Instagram poll on what people thought which concealer, because I didn't tell you. And most people, from what I'm understanding, and I'll insert a screenshot of the poll, like when it's done, at this time that I'm filming this right now, the poll was saying that most people thought the Too Faced side is the Shape Tape size. I hope you found this helpful. I hope it gave you a little more insight into who might be best suited to try the Born This Way concealer versus the Tarte Shape Tape. If you like this demo and you want to see more of like these split face videos, give me some ideas down in the comments of some products you want me to do that with, and we will do it next time. Alright guys, have a good one. Thanks for watching again, as usual.